I'm John McQuaid with 8541 Tactical, and I'm here today with the review of the Modular Driven Technologies HS3 chassis. Now, we gave you guys kind of an overview of this chassis, kind of an unboxing before we left for SHOT Show earlier this year. Well, now we're back and we've had some time to get some trigger time on the rifle and get it out and put it in some different situations and see how it works. And it's worked very well. Now, the HS3 chassis is not the whole thing that you see here. It is mainly this center section that we have here, this 2.2 pound mini chassis kind of setup here. And what this allows you to do is it gives you a magazine system, it gives you something to bolt your action into, and then gives you the option of choosing what buttstock and what pistol grip suits the kind of shooting that you're going to do. This is really a great option for guys that maybe are coming from the AR world and maybe you already have a favorite AR setup. Well, you can take that same buttstock and pistol grip and adapt it to your bolt gun. Now, we saw this same concept with the Modular Driven Technologies LSS chassis, but the HS3 takes what the LSS did and expands on it a little bit further and fixes some of the problems that we had with the LSS. Now, the two main issues with the LSS was it had a very short forend and it only accepted adjustable stock tubes for your buttstock. So you were limited on what buttstock you could put on it, and really you ended up with a bipod that was very close to your magazine system and didn't give you a lot of room in here to be able to utilize the rifle on different obstacles and different barricades. Well, the HS3 fixes both ends of the issue. First of all, the bipod is punched out a little bit further. We have this nice standard length forend. It's really more what you see on a standard rifle. And then coming back to the back, we have an A2 type stock attachment point here. So any stock that you can fit on the back of an AR-15, you're going to be able to bolt on to the back of the HS3. And of course, we still accept a pretty wide variety of AR-15 pistol grips. Now, one drawback that we still carry forward with the HS3 is that you'll have to use flat top pistol grips. You can't use any that have the duck bill like you see on a lot of AR-15 grips. If you are going to put a grip on here, a standard A2 will work fine. As you see, we have a Magpul K2 grip on here. You can also use a Ergo Tactical Deluxe grip, which is one of our favorite pistol grips, if you use the flat top version, not the duckbill version. Those will work just fine. Now, the HS3 also improves on the LSS in one other major way. The LSS was pretty much all aluminum, so when you're grabbing the chassis, your skin is touching aluminum. This can be okay in temperate climates. In really cold weather, this can be an issue because it's going to suck the heat out of your hand. For short periods of time, not a big deal, but if you're a hunter and you're carrying that thing around for a while, you want a little bit more insulation between your hand. And even wearing gloves, you could still kind of feel it working like a heat sink. Well, the HS3 uses these polymer stock sides now, and you have a little bit more insulation, and you also have some contouring here which helps you grip it a little bit better. Now, the forend, you still have attachment points here for different rails, different attachments if you wish, and you also have threaded holes across the bottom of the forend, so you can put Magpul Mo type rails on the bottom of here if you still wish to use a rail attached bipod or some other accessories. You can put rails on, and if you have a tripod that will grab the rails, then you can put a rail back here and run that. The forend is also nice and flat forward of here, and it kind of tracks with the axis of the bore. That means you can throw it across and shoot across barricades very, very easily with it. We really didn't have any problems getting it up and getting it stable quickly across a barricade to get shots off. It really performs very well in that aspect. And you have enough room up here that if you run a barricade bag or if you run pig skins or something of that nature, you can stick your Velcro underneath here. You can stick double-sided tape or whatever you need on the bottom. And your bag will get on there really good, and you'll be good to go. Coming back here, we use an AICS style magazine on the HS3. So if you have a bunch of Accuracy International AICS magazines now, they will still work on the HS3. Now this is one of MDT's polymer magazines, and we are still kind of testing these out now. We'll have a full review of these coming up. I don't really want to get into it on this review, but they do work in this chassis system, and you would hope MDT magazines will work in the MDT chassis. They work in there just fine, but there are a couple of things we need to cover on those. Standard Accuracy International magazines, they work just fine. The magazine latch is really nicely tucked up under the trigger guard, so you don't have to worry about it catching it accidentally. One disadvantage here with the really thick, beefy trigger guard and the abbreviated magazine release is it's difficult to get forward with your trigger finger and hit that magazine release. So you really have to get used to coming up with your thumb or one of your other fingers and hooking the mag release to drop your mag. Not a big deal, but just something to think about if you're used to going forward with that trigger finger like I am. The trigger guard worked well, didn't interfere with anything. The recess in the inlet is large enough that none of the Remington triggers that we tried in it had any problems. Now the inlet on this one obviously is for a Remington 700 short action. There are different versions of this chassis available for Remington, Tikka, and Savage. So the varying different rifles they do have some fitments for, and if you go on MDT's website, and we'll leave that link below, you can see the specific rifles that it will fit. Now one comment on the inlet, while the trigger area was not an issue at all, the recoil lug area on the HS3 is a little bit smaller than we like. Really a 0.39 inch lug is the largest lug that's going to fit in here, and that caused a problem for us because the last custom 700 that we had built, we had Southern Indiana Precision build it up for us, and they went ahead and used a Pacific Tool and Gauge oversized lug in it. The full thickness PTG lug would not fit in this chassis. That kind of pushed off our chassis review a little bit because we had to free up this action to drop in here. Most standard Remington shooters are not going to have an issue with this. It's just when you get into those larger than 1/4 inch thick lugs, that's when you run into a problem. I don't think lugs that large are really necessary, but a lot of custom builders do put them on their rifles. So if you end up with one, it's kind of a pain in the butt to realize, oh, well, I've got this chassis I want to put on my new custom build, and I have to have that recess milled out. And we've already brought that to MDT's attention. Hopefully they will fix that going forward. Overall, this chassis system, just the center section here, runs for $499.99. They're available in a couple of different color options. You can either get the basic black here, you can get the coyote, or you can also get the OD green color. And overall, I think you're getting a really good deal for that $499. Now, this gives you the option to decide what you want to put on for your pistol grip and your buttstock, and you can either go with an inexpensive M4 style stock, because there are a ton of them out there, and a regular A2 pistol grip, or you can go a little bit more wild and you can put something like the skeleton stock that we have here from MDT and a more upgraded pistol grip. One thing that I did want to mention, because we did put the skeleton stock on here for the demo, you can run into an issue with the cheek riser on the version 2 of the MDT skeleton stock. As you can see here, when we bring the bolt all the way back, it just clears the cheek riser. But unless you have the cheek riser all the way up here, you really can't get enough space to get the bolt out. With the cheek riser up, it's not a big deal, but with the cheek riser down, it is. So you have to either raise it or loosen up your Allen bolt here and pull the stock off to remove your cheek or remove your bolt. Not a big deal, and it is something that they are going to resolve in the version 3 of the skeleton stock. They're going to move that comb back, so you'll have a little bit more room on the short action rifles to get that out. So keep that in mind, depending upon what buttstock you decide to put on here, you may run into that issue with some other stocks. And we'll go into a full review of the skeleton stock a little bit later on. But overall, very pleased with the HS3 chassis. I think it's a great option in that price point. It shoots really well in the field, and even if you're a hunter, I think this is a great option instead of something like the LSS chassis. If you guys have any questions or comments on the Modular Driven Technologies HS3 chassis, please leave them in the comments section below or send them to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you like this video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot!